welcome back to the MOOC course on research writing. My name is Aradhana Malik and I am helping you with this course, and we are talking about what research writing is in this module. That is what we are talking about. So, in the previous class we discussed what research writing was, why should you disseminate research, etc. Now, in this class we are going to talk about the process of publication, and we are going to actually get down to the nuts and bolts of research writing, process of publication. So, let us see what we have here for you. So, process of publication, this is again from the same paper by Bjork that we referred to in the last class. How do you publish your work? So, you write a manuscript. So, you conducted your research, you have written a manuscript, you write your manuscript, and then you send your manuscript for review. Now, when you send your manuscript for review, at that point of time, usually this does not cost any money. You send it many journals, many good journals publish your manuscripts without charging you a fee, and you send your manuscript for review, and at that point the manuscript is reviewed, and the manuscript you get feedback, and so the review of the manuscript is affected by the journal review policy. It is affected, the manuscript is reviewed according to the review policy of the journal, according to the expertise of the reviewers, according to their own identification with the subject, and then all of this then leads to the revision. You get the comments from the reviewers, and then you revise the manuscript. Now, after you revise the manuscript, then you send it back, and it's reviewed, and it's revised, and finally it's accepted. The accepted manuscript then goes into the queue for publishing. The revision of the manuscript takes place through the original idea. The factors that influence the input or that affect the revision of the manuscript are the original idea in the manuscript, the comments of the reviewers, and the expertise of the researcher, and the work that goes on by the researcher, or the work that the researcher does after the comments come from the reviewers. Now, after that you send it. Once it's accepted, then it is put in the queue for publication. Now, when it is put in the queue for publication, the reviewers at times also suggest when the manuscript should be published. So, what kinds of articles are supposed to be put together, the issue schedule, then so this then affects when the manuscript is published. Then the article is made ready for publishing, and once it is decided when the article will be published, then the typeset article or the full article is brought out. Now, at this point, when you see here, there are inputs going into the revision of the manuscript. So, you revise the manuscript, then it's reviewed again. The reviewers review it. At times the editor will review the manuscript. So, the revision and review sort of, there's a cycle going on there, and then at that time, then this is put in the queue for publishing, and then there is an output. Once the article is accepted, once it's put in the queue, then there is the output, and the article gets ready for publishing. At that time, the article is formatted, and it is sent to the journal for actual publishing. Or at times when the manuscript is reviewed, you revise it, and the reviewers say that maybe it is just not a good fit, so it is rejected, and so the work starts again here. So, then the work starts back here. You perform the research, you communicate the results, you apply the knowledge, and then you come out with or you communicate the results, and then you prepare a fresh manuscript here. So, this is how. So, this is the input goes into reviewing the manuscript, then the control exists from the review to the revision of the manuscript, and the mechanism for all of this is the researcher, the editor, the reviewers. All of these are the mechanisms of reviewing and revising the manuscript. Okay. Applications of research writing, the stages of research writing. You first write a proposal, then you prepare an interim report, then the interim report reflects the work in progress. Then, based on the feedback you get from your committee, from the group assessing that the research, the written document, it becomes a work in progress. Then the final report is generated, and that final report then is, you know, it could be a final report, it could be a dissertation, it could be a journal article, it could be a monograph, it could be a magazine article, it could be a book chapter, or it could even be a book. All right. The applications of research writing. Now, how various applications, we talked about a few, so I'll just give you some details. Research proposals. You could have a title. You know, in the research proposal, you have a title of the study, then there is an introduction, there is a background, problem statement and objectives of the study. So, the introduction contains all of these. Then there is a rationale or significance of the study. Then we have methodology. Methodology refers to the study of methods. Then you analyze the resources and present that detailed analysis into your research proposal. What are your resources? How much money do you need? How much time do you have, etc. Then you come up with an action plan. You make a timetable, okay, and then you make a budget and you present that, and also write the anticipated conclusion, limitations and contingencies. What are you heading towards? Where is this taking you? Then you also submit a plan for dissemination of research results. What are you going to do with your results once the research is through? So that is what should be included in a research proposal. Okay, some reports. Then, you know, reports are again an output. We will go into the details another time. Various types of reports are there. You have technical background reports, which contain definitions, causes, effects, types, historical background, process, descriptions, comparisons, applications, etc. So, all of these things would be included in the reports. A primary research report includes an introduction, a problem background, purpose, objective, why you are doing the study, scope, how far will the study be spread, literature review, materials, equipment, facilities, theory, methods, procedures. So, you know, what have you done, why have you done it, what is the output, findings, data, discussion, how does what you have found out relate to what the literature has said, conclusions and recommendations, and then the references, bibliography. Then we come to journal articles. Now, journal articles are very, very crisp reports of or the stories of what you have done, and journal articles may range from maybe 5 pages to 50 pages in length or even more, depending on how much work has gone into it and the journal that is accepting it. A journal article, a journal by definition is a diary, but when we talk about a diary, it is a collection of the studies or a collection of the research that has been carried out in various places or in various ways, the various types of studies that have been carried out in the world, and it's the same type of studies are put in one journal. So, the journal usually has a theme, and or the scope of the journal then determines which articles are bunched up together. So, the studies that have been carried out along similar lines within a specific period are bunched together and put in one issue, and that is presented to the audience. And the primary purpose of journal articles is to help upcoming researchers, academicians to build on the knowledge that has already been created. So, they are looking for very, very crisp, very, very precise, very, very keen information that needs to be presented in the study. Okay, introduction. So, a journal article will typically include an introduction, a literature review, which would include history, critique, synthesis and conclusion. It would include method, it would include results, it would include a discussion of results and conclusion. Okay. Now, when we start writing a journal article, when we start writing any manuscript, we need to ask some questions, and this is from the online writing lab at Purdue University. I'll just show you a link, a beautiful resource to help you with your writing skills. Okay, so what caused it? So, when we ask questions, we'll write down what caused it, what is it, what are we talking about, what has led to it, what is it similar to, what is it unlike. So, what are the differences with other similar things, what larger system is your topic a part of, what do people say about it. Okay. Some questions to explain a topic: what, why, where, when, how and who. These 6 questions then, you know, help you describe a topic or put the topic in a systematic manner, present the topic in a systematic manner to the person reading it. The writing process then begins with consideration of the following. You must know what you are trying to do with what you have written. So your task, are you trying to analyze something? Are you trying to break something into its component parts? Are you trying to classify something? Are you trying to compare two things? Are you trying to contrast two things? The difference between comparison and contrast is, comparison refers to the looking at the similarities and dissimilarities between two units or two entities or two processes. Now that is comparison. Contrast is actively looking for the differences. When we compare two entities, we will also describe their similarities and dissimilarities, but when we are contrasting them, we would look for the differences between the two. Then define these, whatever, or are you trying to define what something is? You're doing something brand new, you're trying to define what is there. Describe it, put it in great detail. Discuss things. So you're trying to generate ideas. You not only have a clear description, you're also trying to come up, generate different ideas as to where or how much more can this particular entity be described. Or survey, you ask people and you want to know what others who are affected by whatever you are talking about say about it or feel about it, or how do they view it, or how do they use it. So survey can be done on various issues. Okay. Then your purpose. So you need to know what your task is, your purpose. Are you trying to explain something? What is the objective? How are you going to do what you're going to do? Okay, so are you going to explain something? Are you going to summarize something? Are you planning to persuade someone? Are you trying to make someone believe something that they do not believe? Or are you trying to recommend something? So are you giving somebody suggestions that you're doing this a certain way, now you must do it another way because this study has revealed that there is another way of doing things? Are you trying to entertain someone, or are you trying to refute something that is already an established fact? For example, there is a contradicting, there are contrasting viewpoints on whether milk is good or bad for your health. So if people say that milk is good for health, at that time there is a whole body of research that says that milk is very good for health. There is a whole body of research that says milk is very, very bad for you. Now again, dentists say that milk, after drinking milk, you should brush your teeth because it gets stuck in your teeth. So so you need to understand why, or how people are, or maybe you're trying to refute something, an established fact. Then your audience, who is going to read what you have written? Your rhetorical stance, are you talking as a student, as an expert, as a person who is affected by what you have done, or or as a teacher, so as an academician or as a policy maker? So which stand are you taking? Then genre and language, what kind of genre are you adapting? What kind of language? Are you saying something in poetry or prose or in research, or are you using a direct style of writing or an indirect style of writing, etc. And the language that you're using. For example, in India, most of the research is communicated in English language. So we conduct research in various other languages, but to my knowledge, the number of recognized journals in other languages is much lesser than the number of recognized and reputed journals that are presented in English language. So every subject has, we try and publish in journals that are open to a larger audience. Now some countries in Europe have a larger body of research in their own native language. I know about Germany and France, definitely. So they have their own, so research is presented in these specific languages. Then specific online issues, are you trying to share the material through a particular medium? If you're trying to put it on the internet, are the readers going to be able to use it on the internet? For example, if you have done some research on, say, local solutions to local problems, is somebody going to be, the people who are going to use these things are in rural areas. So do they have access to the internet? If no, then maybe the internet is not the right way to disseminate this research. Maybe you need to have print journals or print magazines. An example of this is the Honeybee network in India. I'll tell you more about it as we go along. So you know, this was started by Professor Anil Gupta of IIM Ahmedabad. And so you know, you're looking for local solutions to rural problems, and so you collect those solutions and you share them with people who can actually use them. So they have these magazines. They're not even journals, they have these magazines containing solutions that are prepared in the local language and in hard copy, so that people can actually read them and use them. Amazing thing. So anyway, so specific online issues are there. So actually we don't have very much time for this, so I'm going to backtrack. I'll say something here. Okay. So the writing process. So at this point, so you know, you need to know why you are writing something, and then you need to go further with that. That is all we have time for in this lecture. We will continue with some more discussion on writing issues, specifically writing issues, in the next class. Thank you very much for listening.